Hi, this is Bo for Bota Fitness, and I'm here with Jared and Tanya. We're going to go through the warm-up exercises that we do at the beginning of each workout. Jared's going to be demonstrating some more of the advanced versions, so those of you with more flexibility, deeper range of motion, you want to watch what he's doing over here. And Tanya will be showing some of the modifications for each exercise for those of you who are a little less flexible. So the first exercise we start off with is a jog in place. And with a jog in place, we can make this, I'm going to go a minute on my timer here, so you guys, if you're following along, you can kind of keep up. If you want to go a little bit more advanced, you go higher knees, a little bit more bouncing and impact. Tanya, you can see, is demonstrating more of what looks like a calf raise and a little bit lower intensity. So those of you who are trying to watch those knees or joints and you're just trying to be careful of that, you're going to go a little slower and a little less range of motion. So you can see here that during a warm-up, some people, if they're really trying to get, that's halfway. So you can see that if they're really trying to get a really good warm-up, they're trying to burn some calories during the warm-up, they might increase the intensity a little bit, raising the knees a bit higher. And those who are just trying to be real cautious, warm up slowly, might be doing a little bit lower impact. All right, we got 10 seconds. All right, so in 5 seconds, we're going to be transitioning to our next exercise, which is high knees. High knees. So high knees, trying to keep the back nice and straight, and so chest is up nice and high, bringing those knees up nice and high. Again, range of motion might be a factor for different individuals, so you can see Tiny's going nice and slow and just testing out that range of motion. Again, try to avoid rounding the shoulders as you're coming up. So could you show from the side real quick, Jared? So you want to try to avoid that kind of rounding forward, but keep the chest up nice and high. And again, work on that range of motion as well as the tempo might be a little faster. That's halfway. 30 seconds to go. Remember, the whole point of this warm-up is to get everything warmed up and loosened up before we get into the actual main workout. But don't forget, you can still be burning some good calories here, getting a good workout during the warm-up part of this. 15 seconds. All right, in 5 seconds, we're going to be moving into jumping jacks. And again, Tiny's going to be demoing the lower impact version. So you can see over here, she's got more of a heel kick, whereas Jared's kind of doing more of the bouncy version. Now, a couple things to think about with the jumping jack. Let's start with Tanya first. One is when we're kicking out the heel, we want to try to make sure that we're not letting those hips move forward. So we're trying to kick that heel out to the side rather than kicking way out to the front. That's going to force you to start leaning back. It's putting stress on the lower back. Also with the shoulders, you can see that as far as arm height, whether the elbows are bent or arms are straight, that's halfway. This is going to have a lot to do with how those shoulders are feeling. So remember that when it comes to the shoulder, that when you're down in this lower half range, you're going to have a little less stress on the shoulder. So those of you with shoulder issues might find this is more comfortable. You may also find that thumbs up is more comfortable versus palm down. And height. So if you're finding your shoulders are really achy, really sore, or you've had a previous shoulder injury, you might be a little cautious going too far overhead. You might keep it in that lower range, and slowly over time, you can increase that range. All right, next we're moving into alternating reverse lunges. Alternating reverse lunges. Now this particular exercise, we're going to see, we'll look at Tanya here first. We have a lower range of motion, so she's not going quite as deep. She's kind of more like tapping her foot back and really trying to keep on that front foot the weight in the heel and not on the toe. So the foot is flat. What we're really trying not to do is to be coming up on that toe on that front foot. Notice as Jared is stepping back that he's not stepping directly behind his front foot, but he's keeping a little bit of width. And that's going to help keep your balance. So if you're doing a reverse lunge and you feel like you're going to fall over side to side, keep a little bit of width, hip width as you step back there. And we're stretching those shoulders up as we go up overhead as well. As you stretch those shoulders up, abs in tight. You want to make sure that you're engaging your core. If you're just arching your back, you show really bad arching the back there. Now we're getting stress on the lower back. We're not really getting good shoulders there, right? So arms are nice and straight, stretching those shoulders. Next we have a side-to-side lunge or side step. And again, you can see Tanya doing the modified version, Jared doing a more advanced, deeper version. You notice that Jared's getting a step involved, so he's going side to side with that step as he steps out to the side. Both cases, they're keeping the weight in the heel and really trying to take the pressure off the toe. Remember, as you step out wider, those toes are going to flare out a little bit. So you don't want the toes facing straight forward, but you're going to open those toes up a little bit, and it's going to help keep the hip moving in the right way there. As you step out to the side, it is okay to have a slight lean forward, and it's going to help you keep your balance. Just remember, you're still trying to keep that chest up, shoulders back, and you're working on that range of motion. So here we're stretching out the groin a little bit, working the hip, getting a little bit of a work in our quadriceps as well. Got about 5 seconds, and we're going to be switching into our next exercise. We only have 2 to go. So next we have we're going to crisscross the arms here, and we're going to kick up the heels toward the butt. Now when we're doing this exercise, we're involving a bunch of stretches here. So every time Jared and Tanya crisscross their arms across the front of their body, they're stretching the scapula, so the upper back. That little momentum that you create is literally causing a little bit of a tug across the shoulder blades. When they open here, we're trying to stretch the bicep and chest. So every time you open those arms up, you're getting a good stretch there. And we're also, as we kick those heels up toward the rear end, you're contracting the hamstring and stretching the quadriceps at the same time. So you're getting a lot of muscles warming up and stretching all together. So you notice that at the beginning of a workout, we're not doing static stretching. We're not holding a stretch. We're just involving some movement and momentum to get everything warmed up and prepared to be able to do our main workout. So in 5 seconds, we have our last warm-up exercise. We have Frankenstein kicks. So we call them Frankenstein kicks because you can see you kind of look like a Frankenstein as you're walking along there. This is a big hamstring stretch, but we're also getting the hip flexors, you're working your core. Every time you raise that leg up, your abdomen is contracting to help you assist in stabilizing and raising those legs. Still trying to keep your back nice and straight. And as you kick up, try really to not round those shoulders forward. So you want to sit up nice and tall. And again, could you demo real quick from the side, Jared, just so you can see here. So again, no rounding forward, but chest up nice and high. One way we can increase the stretch, so if you want a little bit more flexibility, obviously height can be an issue, but is also the position of the toe. So if the toe is pointed out like a ballerina, we're not going to get quite as much of a stretch in the hamstring as if that toe is curled back toward the knee. So if you want a little bit more of a stretch in the hamstring, just going to curl that toe back. And again, if you want to lower, if you're really trying to be a little bit more cautious and not overstretch the hamstring, just going to keep that range of motion a little bit more shallow. And that is the end of our warm-up routine. Let's get ready for the main workout.